Views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Police chief says crime is down 28%. And he also says the MP accused of rape will be interviewed this week. In our interview later, we're talking to Kingdor Parkinson's Foundation and the Royal Yachting Association. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Chester Robards, filling in for Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, April 25th, 2023. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Chester Robards, still filling in for Dwight, who's on a little vacation. I think the boat left him in Exuma, maybe. He might be there.
Well-deserved vacation.
Also this morning, like I said, we're talking with the Kingdor Parkinson's Foundation and the Royal Yachting Association, which was in Exuma for the Family Island Regatta. So that'll be exciting to hear about that. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping and the top national and international headlines this morning. I forgot to mention that my special guest co-host today is Jerusa Ali. She'll be joining us in just a second. Police chief saying that crime is down 28%. A spate of murders, primarily on New Providence, drove the murder count up sharply over the last week. But Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernando reported yesterday that despite this fact, serious crimes have decreased by 28% across the country so far this year, compared to the same period in 2022. Speaking at a press conference at police headquarters on East Street, Fernandez said there was a 30% drop in serious crimes on New Providence and a 32% drop in serious crime on Grand Bahama. He said serious crimes increased by 6% on the Family Islands. Crimes against the person also decreased in nearly every category except for rape, which increased by 10%. And the police commissioner also saying yesterday that a member of parliament who has been accused of rape will be called in for questioning before the end of the week. He says, quote, "We are ready now. We have just finished completing dotting our I's and crossing our T's. We will take all matters that come to our attention seriously. Nobody is above the law. If it's me, Clayton Fernando, it has to be investigated, and if the evidence is there, then we proceed. If it is not, there is no evidence, then there is no evidence, but we will proceed to investigate. That's why it's called an investigation. You dot the I's and cross the T's, and once the evidence is there, you move before the courts. And 10 of the suspects in the 41 murders in the Bahamas so far this year were out on bail after being charged with other murders, and 11 victims killed were Okay, and government broke the law. Opposition leader Michael Pintard said yesterday the Davis administration's decision to draw down on $232.8 million in special drawing rights from the central bank was an illegal act, and charged that the government knew it was a foul of the law. Pintard made the claims during the debate on the Central Bank of the Bahamas Amendment Bill 2023 yesterday. And food costs are up 9% over last year. The Consumer Price Index, which represents the overall change in prices, rose 5% in February 2023 over the same period in 2022. The Bahamas National Statistical Institute reported the major categories that contributed to this rise included recreation, alcoholic beverages, along with food and non-alcoholic beverages, with increases of 20%, 11%, and 9% respectively. But the inflation rate was down 0.1% when compared to January 2023. And police providing an update on probes into recent murders. The recent murders of a mother and daughter found dead at a residence on Ross Corner were domestic related. Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez said yesterday Allison Thompson, 38, and her daughter Trevenica Thompson, 15, were found in a state of partial decomposition on April 14th. Fernandez said the man who police charged with was Allison Thompson's boyfriend. Meanwhile, Yinka Strachan, 42, was found in the South Beach Canal with gunshot injuries about the body last Wednesday. The police commissioner said that was also a domestic incident. Fernandez said the man charged in that incident was Strachan's boyfriend. In international news, President Biden announces his 2024 re-election bid, saying, "Let's finish this job." On Tuesday, he formally announced that he's running for re-election in 2024, asking voters to give him more time to finish the job he began when he was sworn into office and to set aside their concerns about extending the run of America's oldest president for another 4 years. Biden, who would be 86 at the end of a second term, is betting his first-term legislative achievements and more than 50 years of experience in Washington will count for more than concerns over his age. He faces a smooth path to winning his party's nomination with no serious Democratic rivals. But he's still set for a hard-fought struggle to retain the presidency in a bitterly divided nation. And the $787.5 million settlement between Fox News and Dominion Voting Systems spared executives and on-air talent from taking the stand in a defamation lawsuit that centered on Fox airing false claims of a stolen election in the weeks after former President Donald Trump's 2020 loss. The lawsuit still revealed plenty of what Fox personalities had been saying about the bogus election claims, including Tucker Carlson, the network's top-rated host, who was let go on Monday. His unexplained departure has turned a spotlight on what he said in depositions, emails, and text messages among the thousands of pages Dominion released in the lead-up to jury selection in the case. Carlson's messages lambasted the news division and management, revealed how he felt about Donald Trump, and demonstrated his skepticism of the election lies. So much so that Fox attorneys and company founder Rupert Murdoch held him up as part of their defense of the company. The judge who oversaw the case ruled that it was crystal clear none of the election claims related to Dominion was true. Let's take a look at sports. Team sports continue to make a return in the school system in the Bahamas following COVID-19, and in volleyball, 4 champions were crowned in the Government Secondary School Sports Association on Monday. All 4 series ended in 2-game sweeps at the Kendall G. L. Isaacs National Gymnasium. All but the senior girls needed 3 sets to get the job done on Monday. In the senior boys division, the pennant-winning C.I. Gibson Rattlers bounced back from a shaky start to turn back the Doris Johnson Mystic Marlins in 3 sets, 19-25, 25-20, and 15-7. The pennant-winning C.R. Walker Knights senior girls didn't drop a set in the entire 2-game championship series, winning the clincher 25-19 and 25-18 over the C.V. Bethel Stingrays yesterday. In the junior boys division, the D.W. Davis Royals had a rough second set, but came back in the third and won, taking the match 25-23, 10-25, and 15-10 over the H.O. Nash Lions. Finally, in the junior girls division, the Lions won another title, but had to fight hard for this one, prevailing 22-25, 25-23, and 15-13 over the SC McPherson Sharks on Monday. And given their recent performances on par with global standards, Bahamians Keyshawn Strawn and Terrence Jones have been included on the Bowerman Watch List, as announced recently by the U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association. The Bowerman Award is the highest honor bestowed to collegiate track and field athletes, recognizing them as the most outstanding athletes of the year. It is presented annually to the nation's top male and female student athlete. When one looks at what Strawn and Jones have done this year, it is no wonder why they would have been selected as athletes to watch. And the BNSS partners with the British High Commission with news that sailing is now the Bahamas' new national sport. The Bahamas National Sailing School is making strides to promote its activities in the hopes of getting even more children into their sailing programs. Established in 2004, the school has taught thousands of children to sail over the years. Many began with an introductory summer camp held in July and August, then went on to join the year-round programs on Saturdays and after-school classes. The BNSS also welcomes school groups during the week as part of their physical education curriculum. That's sports. We got some international sports. The trade of quarterback Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay to New York puts one of the greatest players in NFL history in a Jets uniform. Despite a 54-year Super Bowl drought and the league's longest active streak without a playoff appearance, the Jets have acquired several Hall of Fame players over the years. Some had big impacts, while others simply made a pit stop in New York on their way to Canton. Here are some of the most notable players who joined the Jets late in their careers and ended up in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, mostly for their accomplishments elsewhere. Brett Favre, LaDainian Tomlinson, Ronnie Lott, Art Monk, Jason Taylor, Alan Faneca, Ed Reed, Steve Atwater, and T.Y. Law. That's your look at sports, and that's the overnight. It's time for your first look at weather, brought to you by Scotia Digital Saturdays. And here's your forecast for today and tonight. Your general situation: a broad and unstable air mass will support pockets of unsettled weather across portions of the northwest Bahamas today, while high pressure dominates elsewhere. Residents and boaters in the northwest Bahamas should remain vigilant for possible waterspout and or funnel cloud activity, as well as other possible severe weather activity. Localized flooding is also possible in flood-prone areas during heavy and or prolonged rainfall events. For the northwest Bahamas, weather variably cloudy to occasionally overcast, with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms today through tonight. Some showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times over open waters. Seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather partly to mostly sunny and very warm with a few showers and a slight chance of an isolated thunderstorm, mainly offshore today. Mostly fair and warm tonight. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times over open waters. Seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Your daytime high temperature today, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius. Your overnight low temperature, 72 degrees Fahrenheit, 22 degrees Celsius. That's your first look at weather, brought to you by Scotia Digital Saturdays. Do you need help using Scotia Online, the Scotia mobile app, or the ATM? Well, Scotia Digital Saturdays is here to help. For 4 Saturdays during the month of April, Scotiabank will open select branches between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. to give additional support for those requiring help navigating the various digital platforms and to provide tips on banking safely. Please join Scotia Digital Saturdays. Visit bs.scotiabank.com for branches and dates. We'll have your extended outlook and a look at the tropics coming up in just a bit. When we come back, we're discussing some of the day's top stories. That's when Morning Blend continues here on Guardian Radio 96.9, home of fresh news and smart talk all day.
It's the start of the new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Ready to step into the future? From your front door to the backyard and everywhere in between. See and speak to whoever's there with Ring Video doorbells and security cameras now available at Alive. Protect what matters most, all from one easy app. Available in your Google or Apple Play Store. Visit bealive.com/ring to learn more. We are alive.
RBC will soon be celebrating 115 years in the Caribbean,
inspiring us to continue to look forward for better ways to support you.
So we're making changes to serve you the best we can.
And continue to listen to your needs. We want to be clear
that we will continue to strive for better.
To look forward to you being our customers, community, partners, and employees.
Working together as our parents and even our grandparents did.
A chain of islands with a common horizon.
RBC, committed and invested in the region now and into the future.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of the new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on www.guardiantalkradio.com and the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices and on your televisions on Cable Bahamas, channel 969, or BTC Flow, channel 612. Guardian Radio is all over social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I am Chester Robards. Joining me now is Jerusa Ali. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Your first time co-hosting, I think.
A friend. I've done it once before with Dwight.
Ah, nice. Very good. How was that experience?
It was very good.
Good. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
You can join our conversation today. Tweet us at MorningBlend969 or follow the hashtag MorningBlend. Be sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Leave your comments and read what others are saying about the topics on the show. Or email us at morningblend@nasguard.com. Or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC. Text us at 422-GR96. That's 422-4796. Standard text rates do apply. The Guardian Radio text line. You can also call us 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. And, of course, you can call us toll-free from the Family Islands now, 242-300-5720. That's 242-300-5720. That's from the Family Islands. Also coming up this morning, more weather and traffic, and we have business news coming up in Morning Blend Business at 9 a.m. And first, it's time to talk about what's in the news. So the first thing I have to do is we had BAIC on yesterday, and we were talking about their Taste and Tell event, and so many people asked me, where's the Taste and Tell event? Because I don't think that we said where it was, because BAIC, it's not in Andros. So don't go to Andros for Taste and Tell. It's actually at their Old Trail Road location, which is the industrial park, and that is across the street from the BTVI. So that's where it is. It is from 12 noon to 8 p.m. So you can enjoy the Taste and Tell on Saturday. Just wanted to clear that up since so many people were asking me, where is it? But in the news, we had the police chief talking about crime statistics yesterday. And I don't think anybody talked about it yesterday, but if you were on the Zoom meeting, it seems like it was hacked. I don't know if anybody knows this, because if you weren't on the Zoom meeting, you wouldn't have seen it, but some young lady came on cussing and carrying on and apparently drew a male appendage.
Oh dear, I missed all the drama.
It was wild, apparently. I saw a little video of it, but cybersecurity at the police department. I don't know how it happened, but it was very interesting to see. Well, let's get into it. The police chief saying that crime is down 28%. And the subtext says Fernando seeks to calm the public over wave of violence. That's an interesting stance. So the chief police officer saying serious crimes have decreased by 28% across the country so far compared to last year, and saying that there was a 30% drop in serious crimes on New Providence and a 32% drop in serious crimes on Grand Bahama. But serious crimes increased by 6% on the Family Islands. And a biggie is that while all of those things were down, rape increased by 10%. So, let's see what else he's saying. He said there were 22 rape cases so far this year compared to 20 in 2022. Murders decreased by 16% from 49 in 2022 to 41. Attempted murder decreased by 20% from 15 to 12. Unlawful sexual intercourse decreased by 15% from 48 in 2022 to 41 in 2023. Armed robbery dropped by 37% from 203 in 2022 to 128 in 2023, and robbery dropped by 57% from 47 in 2022. In 2022, from 47 robberies in 2022 to 20 in 2023. All right. So these are first quarter results for crime. So he also says, quote, "I would like to calm the public at this time and reassure everyone in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas that we, the police, are doing everything within our power to keep the public safe while preventing and solving crime." He said last week has been unfortunate for the victims and the families of the victims due to the frequency of murders that were recorded for the week in review. However, we are out there 24 hours a day without fail conducting operations, mobile patrols, and doing our part to ensure that you are safe. Police recorded 8 murders between Friday, April 14th and Saturday, April 22nd. Fernando reported that police have solved 73% of murders that took place already this year, but he said the issue of bail continues to frustrate police. He says, quote, "These criminals who continue to wreak havoc on our society are the same criminals we have arrested, charged, and placed before the courts many times, and they continue to receive bail. The fact of the matter is we cannot continue to operate in the same fashion and expect to receive different results. If we continue to release suspects on bail who are charged with murder or other serious crimes, our statistics will tell us that either they will become victims of murder themselves or they will commit murder or some other serious crime." Fernando reported that the recent murders of... Okay, we read that in another story. So far this year, the crime stats are looking good. Things are down. Serious crime, murder. I don't know what it means, to be honest.
I think it's, it's always good to have statistics gathered, on types of crimes and on the kind of geographic scope of criminal activity. But as a woman, I want to ask myself, do I feel safe?
Yeah.
And that's more important to me. Do I feel safe? Do other women I know feel safe?
Yeah.
Where do they feel safe? More than statistics. Because of the prevalence of violence in homes, some people just don't feel safe.
No, absolutely. And he's saying he wants to calm the fear, I guess, because of all the murders. Mm-hmm. So I actually have the list of things here. So of all the crime reported. Mm. Let's see. So manslaughter, 2022. So there was 0 attempts, and then 1 in 2023 so far. Attempted murder, 15 in 2022, 12 in 2023 so far. Attempted rape, 2 in 2022 and 2 in 2023. Unlawful sexual intercourse, 48 in 2022 and 41 in 2023. No. Armed robbery, 203 in 2022, 128 in 2023. Robbery, 47 in 2022 versus 20 in 2023 so far. Attempted robbery, 3 in 2022 and 2 in 2023. Crimes against property, 34. So for burglary, 34 in 2022, 19 in 2023. Housebreaking, 185 in 2022. Stealing from a vehicle, 168 in 2022 versus 68 in 2023. A stolen vehicle, 101 in 2022 versus 90 in 2023. We had that many vehicles to steal? Good grief. So these are stats from January 21st to April 23rd. So I'm just looking at the actual list of stats. How does it make you feel? I don't know. It doesn't give me any kind of comfort, to be honest. But I guess, like you said, it's important to know statistical information. But one of the things that was mentioned to me yesterday as the chief of police was, the commissioner of police was talking, was that we often don't know how many people just end up in the hospital. And I don't know if it's classified as attempted murder, but how many people end up in the hospital being treated for stab wounds, gunshot wounds, because this says, so for attempted murder, this says 14 for 2022 and 7 for 2023. But when we look at the amount of people that sometimes end up in the hospital, they talk about it time and time again, how much blood is needed to deal with gunshot victims coming to the emergency department. What are those stats? Like, how many people are you seeing coming into the hospital, bleeding out from a fight, stabbed, hit with conch shell, something, you know what I mean? One would consider that some of those could be attempted murder, right? So, is it all clear? Clear as mud. I don't know. So let's take this call that's coming in, yeah? Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
God, this is Strachan away so long with your chest, and of course, Ali.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
I'm not hearing you over the telephone.
We can hear you fine.
Okay, good. Couple of things, right? Several things I want to say. I don't agree with the commissioner of police because the police nowadays don't like to investigate, okay? And the streets are not safe in the night. And any place where there are not much people in areas, corners and stuff like that, they're not safe. And I'm on the streets, or on the streets when I could have seen, it's not safe. And you call the police for situations, they don't like to investigate. They ask you all sorts of questions, but they don't investigate. I have situations that are caught pending. So to tell the commissioner he got to get rid of some of those, upper police was not giving him the truth.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Bremen, for that. That's always been a concern, that when people call the police, they don't show up, and I've been a part of the statistic of police not showing up. So yes, that is a concern, and I hope that the police commissioner is dealing with those kinds of things. And they do ask you sometimes some crazy questions when you report stuff, and I've been there as well. So, and it's worrying too, because especially in the cases of rape and sexual assault, sometimes they're not gentle with the victim, and they ask some interesting questions that could make a victim turn away from reporting these things. So I hope along with these statistics, there's also a change in the way that police do some of their work. This text message says the Commissioner of Police doesn't know how to read the room. The public is not seeing these decreases, so it was bad timing. Okay, fair enough. How many murders have we had again? So the 30% decrease equates to about 5 murders less. Didn't we just have 8 murders in 4 or 5 days? This isn't good at all. The police can't just call numbers. They have to be interpreted. Yes, exactly. And that's what we were saying about, what are we seeing coming into the hospital? What are those numbers? We also need those statistics. This person says, good morning. What you are reading is not clear to the public. It is the comparison 2022 first quarter versus 2023 first quarter, or the whole year of 2022. Of course, it's not the whole year of 2022. That would be misleading, and so nobody would do that to you. I hope. I wouldn't do it to you. It's year on year. This person says, Chester, kindly, tell your guests not to make this about women. Males are being hunted, and her concern is about women. I want to know how much of those incidents were police involved. Well, that wasn't in those stats. Morning of the stats for 2020. Okay. That was the same concern about whether the stats are for 2022 first quarter as compared to the 2023 first quarter. That's what those stats are. You wouldn't compare one first quarter to the numbers from a whole year, because that just wouldn't ever make any sense. And then you're not giving us enough credit. So the police chief is saying also that they plan to finally question this member of parliament who has been accused of rape. And they say the person will be called in for questioning before the end of the week. So, still a little delayed, but you hear him saying in the paper today, or you read him saying, we are ready now. We are just finished completing dotting our I's and crossing our T's. This is what he said at the press conference yesterday, where he announced those stats. And he says, we take all matters that come to our attention seriously. Nobody is above the law. He says, if it's me, Clayton Fernander, it has to be investigated. And if the evidence is there, then we proceed. If it is not, then there is no evidence, but we will proceed to investigate. Right. And he says that's why it's called an investigation. You dot the I's and cross the T's, and once the evidence is there, you move before the courts. We don't want and we will not be pressured by social media and cause disruption with the investigation. We don't want interference. We are the experts. We know what to do, and we are doing just that. We will dot the I's and cross the T's. So just stand by for that. He says the police are actively dealing with the matter and will leave no stone unturned. So, I don't know if that gives anybody any comfort about that situation, but I think everybody feels as if maybe it's taking too long for them to talk to this person who's been accused of rape. And I can almost guarantee you that if it was not somebody who was a sitting MP, that they would have talked to them a long time ago. This person says, we got a text message, the only reason they're questioning the MP is because the lady got a lawyer. Okay. If anybody files a rape claim, how else do the police dot any I's other than talking to the person identified as the attacker to see if there is any validity to the claim? Imagine if the person could prove they were out on a boat trip on the date in question. The police want us dummies to believe they'd take a month to find that out? Yeah, well, I feel the same way. Good morning, these states are a bunch of... They mean stats. Good morning, these stats are a bunch of lies from the pits of hell. Okay. Do they think the Bahamians are a bunch of stupid, idiot, crime is at the highest? We have social media, so we know what's going on. Okay. It could be that some of the things that you see and hear on social media are not true, and the stats don't have to be lies, but how do you feel about the state of crime in the country? Maybe that's what's driving, your take on what the stats said. Okay, the same person is texting back. So, what do you think? I think that the crime stats do not give me any comfort at all, and not that there's some abject fear of crime inside me, because of all the murders or anything like that. The problem has been that I've seen that these guys are just out here, wild, shooting at police cars and, killing people in parking lots at busy areas. I mean, I would say call Solomon's, no matter what time of the night, a fairly busy intersection there. We've seen innocent victims get hit by stray bullets. What are the next steps? That's really what I want to find out from our police. Like I say on this show all the time, I don't care if you have roadblocks every day. If that's gonna help, then I say do it. That you could form more fly-in squads and go out on the streets at night. Do what you have to do. I mean, on an island 21/7, it shouldn't feel this way. And so, despite the commissioner trying to quell the fear of crime, I don't think it hit the mark. Not yet. What do you think? Give us a call. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Of course, you can call from the Family Islands. Toll free, 242-300-5720. Text lines, person say, I want to know how much of those incidents were police involved. Oh, we read that. This person says, Chester, I think the allegedly raped woman wants to be treated as priority because she took up social media. Men are being murdered, and I think she needs to wait in line. Huh? They have more important things to deal with. Is this sarcasm? I think this person's being sarcastic. I hope this person's being sarcastic. All right, we have a call coming in. Yeah, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Good morning, Chester. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. In reference to the question that you asked, there seem to be in this country, we have, especially with these murders, they're like peaks, and then it dies down, and then it peaks again. And something you said in reference to the traffic stops and the police infiltrating the streets, I just said to my husband yesterday, we were in traffic, and I said, we're at a peak right now. We're peaking with all of these murders. There's a bloodbath going on, right? And, you would hear the authorities would say that these victims are known to the police.
Right.
Well, this is a gang situation, but this It's not. You have women, you have children, you have young men, you understand it's a variety, it's a cross section of persons who are being murdered now, right? I would think, and it's an inconvenience to us. I would think, because I do feel confident when I see the police have the streets lined off and are stopping cars and are searching and are doing what they have to do. Once they do it in a proper manner, I have no problem with that, because most of the time when they stop these cars and they search and they, act on a lot of times suspicion based on what they see, right? They find guns, they find weapons, and I think these acts could be could save a person's life, and especially when there's, I'm not saying every day I want to see this, but when there is an increase in murders, even the other crimes, but especially murders, because we are all potential victims. And we have to get this through our heads. We are all potential victims.
Yeah.
And I would really like to see them step it up with that. It's one thing. I'm glad the commissioner is coming to the public and giving us the information, the stats and whatever, yes. But follow up on that, because remember Carifta, we just finished with a successful Carifta.
Mm-hmm.
They had a press conference prior to that, and they warned the public, if you plan on coming to the games and acting up, you're going to be in the cell doing your Easter egg hunt in the cell. They had that Carifta Games covered. Okay? They might have had some little minor instances, but they were able to grab them and nab them and do what they had to do. This is what the same way they apply that pressure when they had CARICOM, or was it CHOGM, sorry, the other day, a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
They had that covered. You heard of nothing happening in that vicinity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially one more thing, the hotspot areas, the areas where they see like a peak in the murders and whatever, of that whole community saturated with officers. Why can't we have the roadblocks? If, as a citizen, a tax-paying citizen, if I have done nothing, I fear nothing. So if the officers come and they do what they have to do, properly, respectfully, I have no, and this is what I think the public would like to know, because we want to know that our children, our wives, our husbands, our mothers, our family members, our loved ones are safe. So if they're going to do this to protect my child, my grandchild, I'm all for it, and this is what they need to do. I think that can help. Now, the courts and the Bail Act, and all that's a whole other, aspect to it.
Yeah.
But right now we're in a crisis, and they need to step it up as far as that protective mode and stop and search.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and have a safe day, okay?
Thank you. You as well.
Okay.
Let's take this other call before we have to go to a break. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend. You there, caller? Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
All right, you and all the listeners in the world. Poppy, Chester, I was trying to figure out, at least I would say, if it's possible to all us mothers and fathers or their parents, we need to really talk to our daughters and talk to our sons, Too much disrespect out there. We have a job, we have a responsibility to do. I know our children become adult one day, but this killing and all that stuff and can't deal with the domestic thing, all the disrespect and don't know when to walk away before it gets to that stage. All of these psychologists and professors and doctors we have in this country, we need to sit down and really talk about the real issue, not just talk about it, try to deal with it. Talk to these parents, some of us parents that ain't really supposed to be parents. We just breeders. We just making children and ain't doing the things what we need to do. I wonder if this makes sense or not, Chester, or people still believe it don't make sense for the country for us to be able to carry arms legally. I hear them talking with something lately. The Minister of National Security a few weeks ago was talking about issuing handguns to either law-abiding citizens. And then yesterday in Parliament, the former Prime Minister, Hubert Minnis, asking him how much guns the Commissioner of Police issued lately to people who are either former gangbangers or friends of the PLP or persons who were charged for murder, drugs, and guns before, who already spent time in jail. I know people could change their life and stuff like that, but when you talk about being safe and how we feel out here, we got to wait till the police come. Sometimes the police only can react when things done happen, somebody done dead. I wonder if they considering making sure everyone who eligible to have a license gun, or that's just a friends, family, and lovers thing again, where they issuing weapons. I hope Dr. Min is talking foolishness again, yeah? Keep up the good work, Chester.
All right. Appreciate the call. All right, we're going to go to a break, and Morning Blend will continue on the other side.
Wake up, it's a new day.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And here's your Morning Blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Discover mortgage ideas shaped around you. Taking a look at your traffic hotspots this morning. Somali Butler Highway is as you thought it would be. It is backed up all the way past the Fire Trail Road roundabout. And Fire Trail Road eastbound getting very busy. Gladstone Road looking pretty much like it did yesterday at this hour. Backed up about halfway to Fire Trail Road. It seems like it's a bit slow going at the moment. On the Eastern Road, traffic is building up. Westbound, it's pretty thick this morning, backed up from Fox Hill Road all the way back to San Souci. But it does loosen up as you approach Village Road. In other areas, Prince Charles getting busy before Beatrice Avenue. In the westbound lane, those look like the hotspots right now. Some traffic on Carmichael Road between Bacardi Road and Coral Harbor. Entrances there. I don't know what's going on there, but we'll have more traffic for you a little later. That's your Morning Blend traffic alert. That's brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/home story to start your mortgage story today. And here's your forecast for today and tonight. Your general situation, a broad and unstable air mass will support pockets of unsettled weather across portions of the northwest Bahamas today, while high pressure dominates elsewhere. In your special warnings, residents and boaters in the northwest Bahamas should remain vigilant for possible waterspout and or funnel cloud activity, as well as other possible severe weather activity. Localized flooding is also possible in flood-prone areas during heavy and or prolonged rainfall events. For the northwest Bahamas, weather variably cloudy to occasionally overcast, with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms today through tonight. Some showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times over open waters. Seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather partly to mostly sunny and very warm with a few showers, and the slight chance of an isolated thunderstorm mainly offshore today. Mostly fair and warm tonight. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times over open waters. Seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Your daytime high temperature today, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius. Your overnight low temperature, 72 degrees Fahrenheit, 22 degrees Celsius. In your extended forecast, lingering moisture will keep rain chances elevated across portions of the northwest Bahamas through Wednesday. Meanwhile, an Atlantic ridge will rebuild across the area with drier air briefly moving into the area on Thursday. We'll have an outlook for Wednesday and Thursday in the 8 o'clock hour. That's your weather check. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Ready to step into the future? From your front door to the backyard and everywhere in between. See and speak to whoever's there with Ring Video doorbells and security cameras now available at Alive. Protect what matters most, all from one easy app, available in your Google or Apple Play Store. Visit bealive.com/ring to learn more. We are alive.
You could win your share of $1,000 and free annual memberships when you apply for your Mobile Assist Visa Travel Rewards Card. It's a prepaid visa that gives you access to travel and online shopping deals worldwide every single day. Enter automatically when you successfully apply through our Mobile Assist app. Use your prepaid visa 5 times or more, and you are automatically entered to win your share of $1,000. See our social media pages for more details. Apply, save, and win with Mobile Assist.
Total Auto Care on Howard Road offers fast, quality auto maintenance at the very best prices. Tune-ups, oil changes, brakes, suspension, wheel alignments, radiators, water pump replacements, and more. Need quality brand name tires for your vehicle? Tires that'll stand up to these roads? No worries. We supply Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Pirelli, and Toyo. We'll import them fast and install them for you at no extra cost. So when your car needs maintenance or quality tires, we're on Howard Road, just before Burger King. Come see us. Total Auto Care. Call us at 341-6599 or 341-2350.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
At Doctor's Hospital, our lamp just got brighter. The Loyalty Advantage membership program now has 3 unique plans to choose from. From Lamp Prepaid with free Prime Care visits and service line discounts, Lamp Insured with copay waivers and 0 upfront collections at the ER and inpatient services, or our new Lamp Access, a free plan that offers 10% off labs, pharmacy, and imaging. Lamp has a plan for everyone. To sign up, visit our website or give us a call. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now.
People, what you thinking? We want something different. People, what you wanting? We want local government. I can tell them no more slunking. We want to see it function. I can tell them no more joking. I forgot. Going down Blue Hill Road, going down Village Road, going down Nassau Road. We want local government. We want local government. Dixon Road, we want local government. Shelter, we want local government. We got call for local government.
Sign the petition and find out more information at risebahamas.net.
My business couldn't survive without my credit card machine from Fidelity. It's fast, convenient, and my clients love it. My sales increased, and I can track my earnings. Get your credit card machine from Fidelity today. Call 356-7764.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Sing whoa.
for my land. Rose up early this morning to the sounds of crying. Another mother shedding her tears. Oh, yeah. Why all the pain and suffering? Why all the senseless killing? Could it be that nobody cares? Oh, no. So many sons lost in the slaughter. Blood running in the streets like water. A gun in hand knows no friend. No.
Good morning and welcome back to Morning Blend. I'm Chester Robards, filling in for Dwight Strachan, and along with Jerusa Ali this morning, co-hosting. And Dwight is, I think he's in Italy now. That's probably where he is. So let's get through some more of these text messages before we have to go to the 8 o'clock news. This person says, why no one talking about the central bank law passed in the House and sent to Senate in one day and then suspended until after Senate meeting? We'll talk about that quickly. Person says, crime does appear to be ubiquitous. However, we must give some credit to the stats. Also, I do believe that the police is taking too long to bring closure to this alleged rape matter. It's crazy for them to have not spoken to the suspect as yet. Nobody is advocating arresting the individual, but haven't spoken to him yet is absurd. That's a text message. Good morning, Chester. As long as there is no hanging in this country, the crime will continue to go up. Okay. Could you guys get someone from Crime Stoppers on to give us an idea of how many tips go unactioned by police? It will blow your mind. Okay. We ain't serious, Chester. We got to stop taking these folks at their word just because they say stuff. Who's watching the Watchmen? All right. Person says, yes, I think we should trust the government fully. We should trust the police department and immigration because they are doing a wonderful job and no one is getting murdered by murderers. No rapes are happening. No killings are fraudulent. Documents being given every single day. We also have family who talks to each other, so it's not just social media where information is coming from. I live in Nassau, not Narnia. They also say, Chester, I feel unsafe since 2022 to now. I'm afraid for myself, my kids, my grandkids. On Sunday, I felt like... Okay, not reading the rest of that. Rape is not easy to prove. Yes, we know. Morning, Chester. The chief of police is living in the same place else. The chief of police is living someplace else. Don't talk numbers because the streets are telling something different. There is no fear in these criminals. We need to make stiffer laws to get these animals off the street once and for all. Stop letting criminals take over our beautiful country. You murder, you'll be hanged or put to sleep. Nassau is not safe. I don't feel here. They're shooting anywhere, anytime now. God help us all. All right. Let's squeeze these calls in before we got to go. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend. Caller, you there? Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend. You there?
I am. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. Chester Robards. Morning Blend, please.
Yes, good morning. You're on air.
Yes, good morning, sir. A few things to propose and observe on. I think the first thing is without Freedom of Information Act, we really cannot, general public has no knowledge of the real statistics and data on crime.
Yeah.
And on rape. That's the first thing I'd like to highlight. It's of national importance that legislation is passed and enacted so that we really know the truth when it's being spoken. The second thing is, without a national development plan utilizing the NGOs and the organizations or the people on the ground who are actually doing the work with the youth in this country, we keep approaching this from a Band-Aid. We take a Band-Aid and we put it on this problem that we are not seriously identifying or addressing. Young people are driven by economics and lack of education. Mind you, there are some smart ones too, but they're street smart. But the reality is young people grow into teens and they grow into adults. And though the data is showing us that, of course, if we're not addressing everything in a wraparound approach for the youth in this country, we're going to continue to see an increase in crime because it's economic. Therefore, why can't we go about identifying the problems, all of the issues that are driving crime, and sit together to look at what is working, research-based, as opposed to just throwing money here and there, et cetera. Yes, we have to look at how our police force will be able to increase the capacity to meet the demand for the areas that we know where there are going to be retribution killings, because a lot of what we're seeing is all driven, again, by the economics of engaging in a crime, in a life of crime, where you're using drugs to be able to provide for your families, or you want the car, you want the jewelry, whatever it is you want. So, sir, please, I'm begging, as someone who's very actively involved in Lend a Hand Bahamas in this country, that now we're moving towards our 5th year, and we are seeing results from the work we are doing on the ground with the children and with the young adults and even the older adults. There are many, many people in this country who are impoverished, and they're often day jobbers, but the reality is unless there are 2 or 3 people within that family working to provide an income to be able to just allow them to survive, we're going to continue to see crime increase in our country. Thank you very much for this morning's discussion, and I hope that adds something to the picture.
Thank you. Yes, we appreciate your comments there. And I guess we need to have Lend a Hand on to talk about some of the good work that is happening out there. And you're right. You do need 2 and 3 people bringing an income in to survive in this country and live a healthy lifestyle. So this person, just reading some of these text messages before we have to go to the break. Good morning. On the topic of violence, just wanted to inform those responsible that the Crack Crime app needs to be updated for newer Android models, and an app needs to be made available on Apple iOS phones. So, I always hear the commercial, and I've never even seen the Crack Crime app. I haven't even gone looking for it.
Let's see if I can find it.
So, I don't know if it's not available for iOS, but let me go out on a limb here and tell you that it doesn't make sense if it's not on everybody's phone to have it. And if it's not updated, what is the point of it? How are you cracking crime when the app don't work or is not available? Okay, all right. So we haven't found it on the Apple. If somebody could tell us different, please tell us different. But this person says it's not available on Apple and it needs to be updated for Android. What are we doing? This person says, good morning. We need to submit a petition to have lethal injection as a form of death sentence and move away from this 100th century form of hanging. Okay, this person says it is on Apple. Well, what is it called? Could you text us back and tell us what to look for? This person says, did you see how many police came out during CARICOM blocking up the roads in buses to stop Bahamians from freedom of movement? If they took that same energy to criminals, crime would be lower. And that was the cause and cry that day, wasn't it? Like, they expended mad energy to keep people away from Bahama and keep people away from work. But hey, that's how it be. We might not get to this story, but quickly, Pintard saying again, and this is not the first time we're hearing this, that the government broke the law by drawing down on the special drawing rights that was held at the central bank. He's saying it was an illegal act. The government updated central bank legislation so that it is clear that they are able to use special drawing rights that they say were being made available from the International Monetary Fund for the government anyway for COVID-19. So they changed the law to make it clear that the government can use the money from the central bank. And they said that they're making the law retroactive. I don't know what that means, to be honest, to make things retroactive. I wish we could make life retroactive sometimes.
Just so it covers that period.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna figure out how to wrap my head around making things retroactive after you've already done the deed. But okay. We're gonna be back after the 8 o'clock news.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And now at 8:24 a.m., it's time for your final look at this morning's weather. Brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Your general situation abroad, an unstable air mass will support pockets of unsettled weather across portions of the northwest Bahamas today, while high pressure dominates elsewhere. Residents and boaters in the northwest Bahamas should remain vigilant for possible waterspout and or funnel cloud activity, as well as other possible severe weather activity. Localized flooding is also possible in flood-prone areas during heavy and or prolonged rainfall events. For the northwest Bahamas, weather variably cloudy to occasionally overcast, with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms today through tonight. Some showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times over open waters. Seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather partly to mostly sunny and very warm with a few showers and the slight chance of an isolated thunderstorm, mainly offshore today. Mostly fair and warm tonight. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times over open waters. Seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Your daytime high temperature 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius. Your overnight low temperature 72 degrees Fahrenheit, 22 degrees Celsius. In your extended forecast, lingering moisture will keep rain chances elevated across portions of the northwest Bahamas through Wednesday. Meanwhile, an Atlantic ridge will rebuild across the area with drier air briefly moving into the area on Thursday. Your outlook for Wednesday, variably variable cloudiness and warm with a few scattered showers, and the chance of isolated thunderstorms mainly across the northwest and central islands. Partly sunny and warm in the southeast Bahamas. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots in the northwest and central Bahamas, and northeast to east at 10 knots or less in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet in the northwest and central Bahamas, and 3 feet or less in the southeast Bahamas. Your forecast for Thursday, partly to mostly sunny, warm and a bit breezy, with a few showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. Winds southeast to south at 15 knots in the northwest and central Bahamas, and easterly at 15 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 3 to 5 feet. That's your weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Visit firstonlineinsurance.com and select a Bahamas First agent to purchase, pay, or renew your car or home insurance 100% online. Or just stop by any Bahamas First agent. Bahamas First, celebrating 40 years as the first Bahamian general insurance company. What's for you comes first for us. And it's time again for your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC. Discover mortgage ideas shaped around you. And in your traffic hotspots, Samala Butler Highway looking a little bit worse. Fire Trail Road eastbound backed up almost all the way to Gladstone Road. The Gladstone Road traffic now backed up about 3/4 of the way to Fire Trail Road. It's moving a little mid-Gladstone, but gets, of course, stuck going up the hill there by Fusion. Traffic on JFK, backed up all the way past the Ministry of Public Works. There's a lot of traffic on that road this morning. If you can find an alternate route, you probably want to take that. That has traffic also backed up past the Sports Center Road roundabout. Traffic near Saunders Beach backed up almost to Go Slow Bend. On the Eastern Road, things are looking pretty much the same. Traffic backed up now a little bit past San Susie. But again, frees up a lot just before you hit Village Road. Some problems still there by Soldier Road and Wolf Road intersection. You probably want to avoid that area. And lots of traffic on Carmichael Road heading into Blue Hill Road. Independence Drive, traffic basically backed up between the two roundabouts of East Street and Blue Hill Road. In the westbound lane, in the eastbound lane, things not looking so bad at East Street. Those are your hot spots this morning. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert. That's brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/home story to start your mortgage story today.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together. And we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations. We're with you on this journey for every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Everybody's idea of home is different, so every mortgage should be unique, shaped around you, flexible to move and change as you do. RBC will come to you to get you started and stay by your side to help guide you every step of the way. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/home story and start your story today.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at RBC Caribbean.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Computers, raising the standard since 1987.
Time, good time, my time, your time, our time, all the time. Everybody feeling fine. Fun time, good time, my time, your time, our time, sing time. Everybody get in line. Everybody jumping up and singing the place. We come to carry on back, cause sting in the place. It's time to dance and shake when sting in the place. So jump around, celebrate, cause sting in the place. We here to celebrate, we come to jam. Sting in the morning, we're slowing down. When the Central Party, the crowd asks for more. Sting bring it real, Sting bring it raw. Everybody jumping up and sing in the place. We come to carry on back, cause sting in the place. It's time to dance and shake when sting in the place. So jump around, celebrate, cause sting in the place. It's all about culture, it's all about fun. Sting, yeah, we love you all, each and every one. So meet us out on Bay Street, come join the line. And when you get on Bay, get ready to whine. Everybody jumping up and sing in the place. We come to carry on back, cause sting in the place. It's time to dance and shake when sting in the place. So jump around, celebrate, cause sting in the place. Yes! Woo! Sting! Oh, yes, man! Thank you! For years we've been rushing, tearing up Bay Street. Bring the music every year, even when Kasik. No other group out there can do it like we do. Sting put the fun back in Junkanoo. Look, everybody jumping up and singing the place. We come to carry on back, cause sting in the place. It's time to dance and shake when sting in the place. So jump around, celebrate, cause in the place. Come, fun time, good time, my time, your time, our time, all the time. Everybody feeling fine. Fun time, good time, my time, your time, our time, sting time. Everybody get in line. Everybody jumping up and sting in the place. We come to carry on by the sting in the place. It's time to dance and shake when sting in the place. So jump around, celebrate, cause sting in the place. What time it is? Sting time. 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 Come party with the Sting 10-year anniversary. Come party with the Sting 10-year anniversary. Come party with the Sting 10-year anniversary.
Good morning and welcome back to Morning Blend. I'm Chester Robards along with Jerusa Ali. And we are switching gears here We are talking about Parkinson's awareness, and we're talking to the Kingdor National Parkinson's Foundation. We've got with us Mavis Darling-Hill, who's the president, and Superintendent Selden Adderley, who's director of the police orchestra.
Yes.
That's correct? Okay, good.
Real famous.
Welcome to the show, and I'm happy to have you. So tell us, Parkinson's awareness. What are we looking at in terms of Parkinson's in this country right now?
Okay, right now.
Could you get just a little closer to the mic there?
So,
there you go.
yes, so Parkinson's Awareness Month is definitely April, and that's proclaimed April in all over the world. And so no different in the Bahamas. And so during this month, our organization, we try as hard as we can, and we take every opportunity possible to sensitize and educate the Bahamian people regarding Parkinson's disease.
Right.
That is a neurological condition that affects the memory system. It when the cells in the deep stream of the brain dies or become impaired, then Parkinson appears. However, what we do know is that Parkinson's disease is unknown in terms of where it comes from, and the cure is unknown. But we do know that persons 60 years and over are more necessarily stricken with the disease. However, there are younger persons. There are juvenile Parkinsonians, and so we're looking at persons juvenile age. A couple of years ago, and I keep telling this story because I want people to understand that Parkinson's disease is no respect of person, of age, of religion, whether you're from a different country or not. It comes, it happens. And so this 7-year-old child, and that's about maybe 10 years ago, I figure out he's probably about 17 now, was stricken with Parkinson's. Wow. And so what is said is that once 3 of the major Parkinson's signs are there or manifest itself, then Parkinson's is really considered the disease, the condition.
Right.
Okay, and interchangeably I'd use the word condition or disease, because people get excited and upset when they think about it as being a disease or whatever. So we talk, it's a condition.
Right.
And so the signs and the symptoms are the 4 cardinal signs. The tremor is the first telltale sign, which is, according to research, 87% of persons who are stricken or diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, the tremor first appears. However, that is a big concern in that the tremor is in the hands, the legs, the limbs, the face. You see some people, the face is kind of moving in a strange way, palpitating. Yeah, so that is what the tremor is all about. So it's not only hands, but usually it's like the left hand, then the right, later on in the illness. And like I said, it's a progressive disease. So as time progresses, you can't just take a pill and say, okay, I'm going to be okay. It's a disease that is really controlled by medication and changing lifestyle.
Okay.
But so, first of all, let me just continue telling you about the signs. And so there's bradykinesia, there's slowness of movement. You see persons walking, and they're walking in a stooped position, looking like they're going to just tumble over. Okay, so that's another stage. But all of those stages or signs do not just appear all at once. And usually family members would see those changes in their loved one before that person really admits to it. Then I can say, oh, like I have a headache. You see them acting a certain way, and then you say, you okay? And then they tell you. But for the most part, Parkinsonians or persons who are not well, they don't just come out and give that information freely.
Wow.
And then there's postural instability. So the posture is affected, and that's the 3rd telltale sign. So you see them sitting in a certain way, like I'm not sitting properly right now, but you see them sitting in a certain way, almost at the edge of their seat, because they realize if they stand up or if they try to stand up, they can fall and hurt themselves. Okay? And then there's also rigidity. When you find someone who's having difficulty with their limbs, you might hear some older person say that they feel stiff.
Right.
So it's like a stiffening of the body, of the limbs. And so those are the 4. But there are many, many others. There are also signs and symptoms in terms of the person's speech. You find that their voice tone is lowered. And so we suggest therapy for that. And I wish Dr. Merritt was here, because he would tell you more about that. He's into a lot of therapy, reference to speech and physical therapy.
Right.
Yeah. But those are the main concerns with that illness.
Right.
But we always talk about best quality of life. Okay? And so the best quality of life is just living as well as you can with whatever is showered or given to you.
Yeah.
Okay?
What is the, I guess, what are the numbers in terms of the Bahamas?
Now, that we tried to deal with doing a questionnaire some years ago. We
Right.
weren't really successful.
Okay.
Doctors, for the most part, did not share with their patients. The form was not like readily available for persons to just pick up and fill out, or encouraged to fill out. Several times I had calls from my parent organization in the United States saying that, oh, do you know Tom Jones? He's from Freeport, he's from wherever, and he's here. He doesn't know about what is happening there in the Bahamas in terms of the foundation. And so we are encouraging persons to come forward, and they don't have to come to meetings or whatever.
Right.
But we have many, many booklets that we want them to have free of charge in regarding any situation in our lives, in their lives, okay? We have booklets concerning exercising, which is very, very, very important, especially if you have a neurological condition, and especially Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease,
Right.
you know? And so if you keep those bones and the bodies going, when people have walk around competitions, it's just not really just for them to walk that day. It's just really just an introduction to what should happen in terms of what they do with exercising.
Now, why do you think it is we haven't kept numbers and people may not be approaching your association to say, hey, we have this family member,
It's beginning to happen,
Okay.
But slowly.
Okay.
Parkinson's disease is still very much thought of as a closet disease. You don't talk about it, the signs, and then later on the illness, you find persons who may have depression. That's what I'm saying. There's so many different things that happen with that. And then we want people to understand that the quicker they receive the necessary help, the better off they're going to be. It's just like any other condition. If you find you have cancer, don't wait until it gets to the point where there's no change, no turning back. And so the same thing with Parkinson's and any other disease.
Yeah.
We're asking people to just really take care and do as much as they can to reach out to their physician, their neurologist, whomever. But family members must be there to ensure that that person is really functioning at an optimal level. And that can only happen with family, because if the family is not there, that person will definitely not survive. And, we have so much to talk about, but I know our time is limited, because caregiving is very, very important regarding this condition, any neurological condition. Because remember, when the brain does not work as well as it should, then, you need help.
Well, we'll talk about that quickly. What type of caregiving do you need? Are there facilities here that kind of are able to deal with that particular thing?
Well, there are many, many homes that persons can go to. I know government. I worked at social services years ago, and I know we have homes that persons can go to get caregiving. And I also know, I have a friend, Pat Moxie. She has a fantastic home, and she has several persons with Parkinson's disease and Lou Gehrig and name it, but she does it all, and she's doing a fantastic job. But caregiving is important. And I really say, if people really want to be there for their loved one, they need to, as much as possible, do that at home. Yeah. Remember, the same familiar environment for those persons is more important than throwing them to geriatrics or any of these homes.
Gotcha.
And so, yes, we advocate for caregiving, but caregiving with love at home if possible. Yeah.
Good. So
I'm just wondering if there is a family member who's listening to the show this morning, and they're living with somebody who might have Parkinson's. How can they contact you?
Okay, so we have an office number, but we're not there on a regular basis. But I can be contacted at 477-3782. And what is interesting, I'm happy you said that, because we had a Parkinsonian last year in the middle of the pandemic who actually called me. She got my number from someone she called, and she said she had Parkinson's. And she wanted to find out how I can just talk to her family so they would know how to take care of her. And I thought that was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And so we talked, we did Zoom with all her family members, very supportive family members. And we talked about Parkinson's, and we talked how what they can do to make sure her life is extended and so forth. And like I said, you can hear the voice, the change in her voice, because persons who knew her prior,
right.
They couldn't believe how much it changed.
Yeah.
And so since then, I've been I met with them. She died in February of this year.
Oh, wow.
But, and well taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, does the disease shorten lifespan? Is that part of the progression of it? How does that?
It is not a death sentence,
Yeah.
but what happens is persons with Parkinson's disease, remember I talked about the signs and symptoms,
Right.
They can fall, they can have, based on medication or whatever they're going through,
Yeah.
they can have a stroke, they can have a heart attack, like
Right.
any other disease.
Right.
But the life is not shortened because of Parkinson's.
Right.
But they just need more care,
Yeah.
hands-on care.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I always tell people just decluster their houses,
Yeah.
because remember now, they need space to walk.
Mhm.
And so that's what is desired. And there's several stages of it, and maybe we need to come back another time,
Yeah, I guess
because
a lot.
it's several stages. It's like they start off, trying to walk on their own, and
Right.
then there's a walker, then there's a wheelchair. And so the last stage of it is when they don't and cannot walk or move as much as they can.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what's happening this month. You always got something big going on, and I guess your
Yes.
big fundraiser.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell
you
us
helped
about
us
that.
one year, and
I
we're
did.
hoping you come back again,
Well,
because that was very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our 23rd annual Gala Ball will be held on the 13th of May. That's outside of the month.
Right.
We had no other choice based on all the things that's happening in our society. And so the theme for the event is living a passionate life. And so we're saying, in essence, you do not have to worry about your illness. So anyway, it's just going to progress.
Yeah.
So just live as well as you can with whatever you have left in you.
Yeah.
And always with every challenge is an opportunity. So we encourage people to take the opportunity to love their families. Yeah.
Yeah. And you always have an amazing ball. It's always beautiful there. So I imagine Superintendent Selden Adley is here to tell us about what contribution they're going to make. So tell us a little bit about the orchestra for people who don't know about it, to be honest.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. The Royal Bahamas Police Force Band, people had started calling it an orchestra recently because, we've been doing a lot of conducting stuff, and myself as a conductor I'm very spirited in my conducting, and so, but for this event, Miss Darling Hill, every year with the Gala Ball, brings in these wonderful guest artists. I mean, wonderful guest artists. Just Jeffrey Osborne, people rising, those likes. And so this year, they decided to use the Police Band because of the 50th anniversary, and so we are so delighted to be a part of it, to be carried in the likes of those renowned performers. And I said to her, you know, when you bring in people, Bryson, he has a list of his songs, or Jeffrey Osman has a list of his songs, but the Police Band has a variety of all of them,
right?
Of all the greats,
right?
And that's what's going to be on stage or at the ball. It's going to be a magical night. It's going to be the team is passionate, so we got to bring that passion to the evening. It's going to be so wonderful from the start when you walk into the very end. It's going to be. I mean, we have such a wonderful genre and variety of music that you're going to be able to listen to. You know, cocktail music. When you come in that, when you're having dinner, you're going to be just wow. We have wonderful singers and vocalists, and we're bringing the full band. A lot of times you either see the marching band or you see the pop band, which is a little small stage band. But we're bringing the full orchestra that evening, and so the sound is going to be enhanced by 1,000. And so when you get in that ballroom and we begin to play and you begin to hear the music, it's like a starlight event.
Yeah.
With the Royal Bombers Police Force. And so one time there was an era of the concert band. We're bringing that back now. And you're really going to be pleased. You're really going to be excited. I want you to get excited to hear the police band like you've never heard it before at this ball. And so we are taking up such another step because we know that this ball is always a wonderful event. And you're going to be pleased by the band this year.
So, go ahead.
And just listening to him.
I'm
wow,
getting excited.
right?
Excited.
When I heard him the first time, I said to him, we want to use your band, your orchestra, and we want you to make sure everything is okay. Oh, and when he got through with me, I had like, wow, I can't wait.
Wow.
But he is, you know, his band is very, very interesting, exciting. And intriguing. I mean, we're going to have a wonderful time. You're going to have to come back.
Yeah. No, hey, whenever you call me, I come in.
Yes.
How long have you been preparing for this event?
Yeah, we always prepared for these things, but then we actually doing this time it's a Parkinson ball, and when we finish this, we're going. The police band is in high demand.
Yeah.
High demand. I mean,
it's
almost like we can't sleep. Really,
we are fortunate to have. We're fortunate.
Yeah, and we have to deny some people, and we are sorry they have to be. We are very, 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 very we're very booked. We're really booked.
I was gonna say,
especially this year, the 50th anniversary.
Right,
yeah. So,
we gotta book you far in advance then.
Oh, certainly. Yeah.
Definitely.
Certainly.
Definitely. Yes.
So what type of are we gonna have vocals as well as
everything?
Everything's gonna be there.
Yeah. Once the director comes, I bring the full arsenal of everything that we have, and so it's gonna be like I said, we have it portioned in different kind of subject kind of things. So like I say. You have, like I said, the cocktail music. Then you have the dinner music. Then you have the dance. You're at the end of more towards the end of the night. And so it's going to be such a different arrangement of music going throughout the entire night.
Now, do you always wear uniform with players, or are you in casual, not casual, but formal wear in some situations?
There are some situations, backyard parties, that kind of stuff. When our clients ask for us to not wear uniform, we will do that with the permission from the commissioner, of course.
Right.
But for the most part, we wear uniform because people want to see that the Royal Bombers Police Force is there.
Right.
That's the significant part of it. Yeah.
Awesome. Wow.
So we're saying to the public, you will definitely not be. You're in for a treat if you come. Okay. The tickets are only $250. And remember now, we're going to Atlantis.
Right.
And so we are expecting a great show, a great ball.
Yeah.
I've been in constant contact with Miss Alma Clark, and she's been the person responsible for our ball. And she is significant in terms of her keeping in touch with us, suggesting. This ball is going to be great.
Yeah.
We've had good balls for 19 years. And Jess, you know, when you were there, you excitement. Can you just tell the audience what we're going to expect from you?
Me? I mean, it was a pleasure doing it.
It
I
was
must
wonderful.
Say. But I was kind of like a red carpet correspondent, and I mean the people coming in there were decked to the nines. I mean. And inside, I have to say, inside, I've not seen a ball that has been put on by a foundation here that was that beautifully decorated.
Thank
and
you.
you always do a good job, and you use the colors. Just tell us about the colors.
Okay, yes. Yeah. So Parkinson colors is the aquamarine. It's white and it's a tip of black.
Right.
Yeah.
And so people kind of dress.
No, but we're asking people just come and enjoy it.
Yeah.
We know for 3 years we've been in hiatus.
Yeah.
We haven't done very much. But guess what? I've been asking persons who say, oh, they haven't found a dress yet. I have not. I have several in my closet.
Right.
And so if they are size 12, please call me if you can't find what you need.
Yeah.
But it's going to be great. And so we're saying, wear whatever. Be ready to take pictures. This is going to be, this is going to be wonderful.
And this is your big fundraiser
Yes.
for the year.
Yes.
How are things during the pandemic? You say you've missed 3 years.
Now, we've written a couple booklets concerning exercising, the importance, and you don't have to go on the beach or whatever,
Right.
but just take advantage of just doing things at home,
Mm-hmm.
even sitting a certain way, exercising your legs, your arms, your head,
Right.
side to side. But so we did that. I'm
Good.
sorry I didn't bring a copy, but it's very, very important exercise.
Right. No, yeah, absolutely.
And then we did a speech competition in November of last year. Very well attended. We had students from both government or secondary schools, government as well as private, throughout the island. But I keep saying to everybody, Parkinson's disease is not Nassau-centric.
Right.
We are interested, and we will be going to family islands. We went to Grand Bahama before, went to Eleuthera, but we need to continue going to those. I'm really encouraging them to be in touch with us if they ever have a need.
Right. So before we have to end, just let us know what people should do if they suspect they have a loved one who might be suffering the disease, what they should do.
Give them that support. Go with them to a neurologist or their healthcare providers and get the necessary help.
Yeah.
You cannot do this one on your own. There are medications that need to be taken, and you need that help. You need that support. Unlike many other diseases, you can just kind of really almost do it alone, but with a neurological situation, definitely you need help. Somebody to help you with the cooking, so you need a chef in the house, so to speak.
Right.
You need a chauffeur because you have to go to the doctors or get your medication, go on the beach, and there's so many different things that need to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just tell us one more time how people can get tickets for the Gala Ball.
Okay, tickets can be at Madeira Street Center. That is just a couple doors down from,
You could always tell me afterwards when you remember, and I'll say it on the show before we end.
Okay.
And how they can contact you again.
Okay. I can be contacted at 477-3782.
Do you have an email address?
It's Kingdor, KINGDORNPF @outlook.com. And then my own, I always tell people, just copy it to me just in case I'm not the one at the computer. And my email address is mavisdarling @hotmail, MAVISDARLING @hotmail.com.
Okay, awesome. As always, a wonderful event. Always a pleasure having you and talking to you about this. Mavis Darling Hill and Superintendent Selden Adderley. Break a leg on the day. So we look forward to it. We're going to go to the news and Morning Blend business. We'll continue right after.
Only islands included. 4 a.m. Report for duty. 5 with uniform, helmet, spike and jean. Trousers and shoes, they must be clean. Police band traveling through the islands. Play some sweet Bahamian music. From north to south, east to west, all the islands included. Here we traveling through the islands, play some sweet Bahamian music. From north to south, east to west, all the islands included. Exuma, we got a time.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Total Auto Care on Howard Road offers fast, quality auto maintenance at the very best prices. Tune-ups, oil changes, brakes, suspension, wheel alignments, radiators, water pump replacements, and more. Need quality brand name tires for your vehicle, tires that'll stand up to these roads? No worries. We supply Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Pirelli, and Toyo. We'll import them fast and install them for you at no extra cost. So when your car needs maintenance or quality tires, we're on Howard Road, just before Burger King. Come see us. Total Auto Care. Call us at 341-6599 or 341-2350.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey. For every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
People, what you thinking? We want something different. People, what you wanting? We want local government. I can tell them no more slunking. We want to see it function. I can tell them no more joking. I forgot. Going down Blue Hill Road, going down Village Road, going down Nassau Road. We want local government. We want local government. It's the road. We want local government. Share the love. We want local government. We got call for local government.
Sign the petition and find out more information at risebahamas.net.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, 1976.
Shopping is so rewarding with my Fidelity credit card. I get the best prices with price protection. Earn and redeem freedom points at my favorite stores. Get cash back. Plus, I booked a cruise. Get your Fidelity credit card today. Call 356-7764.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. I'm Chester Robards, filling in for Dwight Strachan, who is on vacation. He might be out sailing, I'm not sure. And joining me, co-hosting Jerusa Ali. We are talking with the Royal Yachting Association. We have them here in studio. Happy to have them with us. A full house. We have British High Commissioner Sarah Sutcliffe, who is the CEO of the Royal Yachting Association, Rob Clark, who is the Director of Sport Development for the association, and Nick Scott, who is Director of Racing. So we've got all of them here in studio. We're happy to have you. Thank you for coming to talk to us. We appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. And
thank you so much for having us today. It's always love coming to talk to Guardian Radio, and we appreciate you inviting British Sailing on this morning. Before we get going, let me just say something about the last guest with Ms. Hill and the police band. First of all, a huge fan of the police band. Yeah. If there's any opportunity to go and see them, you must get tickets for the ball, because it will be a great night. Yeah. Whenever they play, we have a lot of fun. I feel like one of the biggest failures I've had in the last 9 months is not getting the police band to London for the coronation. I would love to have seen the whole of London rocking to their band. That would have been great fun. But also the cause is really important. So a member of my family was diagnosed with Parkinson's 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And it is so important to raise the awareness, to see the symptoms and to come alongside and to support that person through it. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of unknown. But actually, when you have a community willing to talk to you about it, it really does make all the difference. So I think the cause you were raising awareness of is really, really important. And I think it was Jerus that asked the question of, how do people get in touch? I'd really encourage people to think about that if they've got friends or family who need support. Take that opportunity. There's no harm in getting it wrong. Mm-hmm. As Ms. Hill said, it's not a death sentence. Yeah. It's a disease that needs managing. Yeah. The earlier you know, the easier it is to manage. So let me just put my support through that for that as well. We will definitely be at the ball in support of that on the 13th of May.
Excellent, awesome, and thank you for that. I'm sorry to hear that you do have a family member. My grandfather actually had Parkinson's. He who feels it knows it, right?
Yeah.
But we are happy to have the Royal Yachting Association here, and most recently, you were in Exuma for the Family Island Regatta. So tell us about that. Tell us about what you saw, how the sailing experience was there, how it differs from what you do in terms of sailing. Please.
Great. Good morning, Chester, and thank you again for having us here today. It's a real honour to be able to come and talk on your show and to be able to talk about sailing. Yeah. We had a fantastic time in Exuma. How could you not?
Yeah.
And for us, that's something that we don't have those sorts of events in the UK where there's so much of a passion and a festival feeling and families and you've got that mix of obviously the really competitive side on the water and we can talk about sloop sailing in a minute because that's just obviously unique.
Yeah.
So Bahamian in its culture and its traditions. But you have those friendly rivalries, the camaraderie, the passion, the festival feeling, and it all just comes together. And that is really important because that actually is sailing is on the water, the fantastic feeling you get from that. Right. But then if you can come on to the party and have fun and build those friendships and build those relationships, it's really important. It was fantastic. We had a great time. We met some amazing people. There's so much good work going on. And we got to go sloop sailing. And that was a new experience for all of us.
Oh, really? So you tried it?
We did try it.
With a crew. How does it differ from what you're used to in terms of sailing? Anybody can take that. Nick?
I mean, it was first of all, it was fantastic to get out and get on the boats. Yeah. And they're a big boat. They're a big boat, lots of power, and getting on the tiller, you really feel it. Like you feel every inch of the craftsmanship, the weight of the boat, the breeze, the waves, everything you feel through it. And I think that kind of is a testament to a really good boat and the heritage that's gone into generations of creating something that's a pretty amazing racing machine now, really. Yeah. Yeah. To be honest, I got to the point at the end of the session we had to go in between races that I was like, right, let me stay. I want to race. Let's go. Let's see what we can do. So maybe next year we can see if we can come back and have another go. But it was a fantastic experience.
It really was fantastic. It was the Abaco guys on Lonesome Dove that took us out.
Oh, okay.
And that pedigree from Abaco just kind of shone through as it did from Long Island and Good Island and elsewhere. But it really was great fun. These guys from British Sailing race all sorts of boats, right from the Loloptes to kites to the bigger Robson J70s and all these kind of bigger craft all over the world, all at the highest levels, and you could see it in their eyes, that twinkle of this is fun. And it was really, Exuma was very, very special. In fact, I would say it was thrilling. It was both off the water and on the water. The whole time I felt like we were learning and experiencing something new. We were made to feel so welcome by everyone. We had a British pavilion on Thursday night where we hosted all the captains and the commodores and the governor general and the deputy prime minister and lots and lots of others. And it was just wonderful to see people come together and be welcome us in as guests in the Bahamas. And I think we're all going away with counting the days down to Long Island Regatta in next month and then Exuma next year. So it was fantastic.
You're all going down to Long Island as well?
The Governor General promised that he would cancel their flights tonight. I'm going to do my best to be in Long Island. Excellent. I think that would be a great regatta to hear. I hear it's quite different. It's lots of families on the water watching. So that's a different dynamic again. But I think we all just fell in love with sloop sailing. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think from my perspective as well, I mean, this is the second time I've been to the Bahamas. And the first time I came to Nassau, and we spent some time here, and it was amazing. It felt like paradise. This time, it felt like I really got a sense of the Bahamian culture and the real country by going out to Exuma and seeing the regatta. And I think there's something there that you could show the world because it's unique and it's an incredible experience that certainly I won't forget.
Yeah, good. I got to ask you, did the Exuma boys tell you'd have to build your own sloop to sail with them?
Yeah, we're working on that. Yeah.
Excellent.
You'll see all this, a patch of English oak being cut down in Southampton appear next year.
Well, what's different about the experience is probably that a lot of Bahamians who go to a regatta don't actually see the regatta. They're busy doing other things. But, just talk about the actual type of sailing it is and how it differs from what you do, where you come from. Rob?
I think the fundamentals of sailing are the same. You're harnessing the breeze, you're letting the water flow across the boat, you're getting up to speed and getting yourself up and running. And there's so many skills that a sailor has to demonstrate on a normal day on the water, from the ability to work as a team, the ability to bounce through the various challenges you have and overcome them, and be resilient to the vagrancies of breeze and tide and everything else. Right. But actually, the boats themselves, as we've said, they're unique, they're special, they're different. And so when we certainly from our very limited experience, when we stepped on them, we had a huge learning curve just to be able to not be in the way before we even became able to add anything to the party. And the guys who welcomed us on board, they were great. They were completely welcoming. They let us hold the helm. They let us pull some rope and but they were never far away because they knew that we were on that steep learning curve. And that's a great thing. Every boat you hop into. The great thing to see from my point of view was the amount of juniors who were engaged in the regatta. I mean, particularly in the E-class, but also all the way up through the classes. You had young sailors who'd maybe taken their first steps in a sloop, or maybe taken their first steps in an opti or something similar, so in different classes, and they're just jumping between each other, and they're just enjoying the experience of being on the water and putting it to the old guys in the nicest possible way. And it's something that certainly in my sailing I experienced for the youngsters in the UK, showing me how it really should be done, and that's something to really welcome and be excited about.
Yeah, is that something to build on for the youth and get them to move up to? And I don't even know all the classes of sailing and boats. Maybe you could tell us about what it is that you have done and how big it gets.
Sure. Well, yeah. I say, and I'll let Nick talk about the top end of the sport, where people get themselves into the real performance space and maybe aspiring towards the Olympics. But I think the thing that really needs to be identified is that sailing offers a huge amount of opportunities. Yeah, and it's not just in the performance space. It might be something that you just enjoy the pleasure of being on the water and being with friends and the camaraderie that brings. It might be that you want to use it because you want to become a sloop sailor, or you want to go into international classes, or commercial opportunities in being part of a team and working on the water, supporting the tourism industry that comes into the Bahamas. So I think there's lots of opportunities there, and it's certainly what we see in the UK. We see that people will use sailing as a recreation, as an escape, as a way of finding some solitude and some peace and tranquility. Others use it for their competitive sporting pursuit, and others use it because they have gone into the professional sphere where they're a boat captain, or offer trips on the water, or maybe they're in boat building, or the marine services. So there's a huge amount of opportunities, and the real thing is that when you learn sailing, you don't just learn how to sail. You learn all those other characteristics and skills as a human being that serves you for the rest of your life.
Right.
That's why I think the introduction of the E-class into the regatta was so important, because we were partly hosted by Dallas Knowles, who's the new Commodore as of this week of the regatta, and he runs the junior program there.
Right.
And it's so exciting for him to be able to point out at the E-class boats, and he was like, 7 of these boats have juniors in there.
Yeah.
And to be a junior and leap straight into a C-class or a B-class, which are much bigger, heavier boats, is a big leap. But it learned on Opties, which is like an international class of boat, had then given the confidence to then get them into an E-class sloop, which is a Bahamian sloop.
Right.
And then they were going to race, and they were competing against adults in the E-class, and they did incredibly well. And I thought it was someone said it was only recently, in the last couple of years, it was introduced to the regatta, but the E-class is a great crossover boat. We were in Nassau last night, and the clubs here who run international sailing have already said they're going to start buying some E-classes as well for that same reason. It's a great crossover boat.
Yeah. But as we move into this as a national sport, and when we want to build on it, what do we have to look forward to? Are we going to have Olympic hopefuls again at some point in our country?
I think from all of the conversations we've been involved in since we've been here, that seems to be the aspiration, and it's a very worthy aspiration. And I think from what we've seen, there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of untapped talent in the Bahamas that, if they're given the right support, given the opportunity, you may well be stood here in 8 or 12 years' time with exactly that, which would be fantastic to see, as long as it's not. But I think the will is there. The will is there from everyone we've spoken to create a structure and a system that helps people to develop and progress.
Yeah.
And I think you can see the crossover of sloop and international sailing, and people jumping between the two.
Right.
And it's all developing skills. And within the British Olympic programme, we push people to have a broad range of experiences, broad range of skills. And if you're going to be an Olympic champion in a 49er, then you have to be good at sailing everything. And I think the breadth of boats that you have here is fantastic and could give you a great foundation to move on. And I think with a few targeted interventions and some enhanced support for those who have loads of potential, you may well be celebrating some of that in the future.
All right.
I think it's such a fantastic opportunity that the country has. The backing of this announcement to make it a national sport. We'd be jumping from the rooftops if that happened in the UK. But I think it's just such a fantastic opportunity, and the reason we're here is what we can do in terms of sharing our knowledge and our experience, and helping the Bahamian sailing community find the way to really deliver on this opportunity. Really set that vision for 10, 15, 20 years' time. And if we can be that critical friend, and we can help share knowledge and experience and help them build that program across everything, bringing more people into the sport, whether they go down the sloop sailing route, whether they go down the international sailing route, whether they do both. And I think there's absolutely the opportunity to cross over. We find in the UK that sometimes, when sailors chop and change a little bit between different classes, actually they learn something all the time. And, we think there's a great opportunity. We might try and get some of our young up-and-coming hopefuls over here and get them on a sloop, get them having some fun, get them trying something different that they don't have the opportunity. Sailors as well. So, it's been a fantastic trip. We've learnt so much. We've had a great time. But, the hard work for everybody starts now. And the hard work starts for the Bahamian sailing community. There's a lot of good ideas. There's a lot of goodwill. And anything we can do to help shape what that looks like over the next period of time to help them deliver on this opportunity, we're delighted to help and be on that journey with them.
Absolutely. As a fellow island nation, the UK is obviously has a depth of sailing in it, and there's 1,500 clubs. Over 1 million juniors have learned to sail in the last 10 years, and the British Olympic sailing team is the most successful sailing team of all time. And so there's a huge pedigree from the UK. And we want to share that experience. We want to share what we've got wrong as well as what we've got right. But equally, the Bahamas is the first country in the world to announce sailing as a national sport.
Yeah.
So much of the pioneering is going to be done in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And I think we're all quite jealous of that. We want to offer support and critical friendship, as Sarah says, and we can talk about stuff. But it's what has been incredible to see in Exuma and back in Nassau is that there's a national will from the political right down to community level to really make a difference in, okay, let's not just announce it, let's actually structure it to make sure that sailing is our national sport. You know, things like a physical national sailing school where people can come and they can learn to sail, and they can also be the pathway for the best sloop sailors to go up to the Olympics.
Yeah.
The community sailing schools in the Out Islands, the learning to sail in government schools, the prizes and the awards at that national and international level, there feels like such political will at the minute, with a small p, across both houses, but also in the Bahamians themselves, such will in order to really see the announcement become a reality in every way. And I think the UK wants to learn from that as well. You know, how will the Bahamas build on the breadth of the support of the sport? So how can we have some of that in the UK as well? And so I think there's going to be a real meeting of minds in the next couple of years. I've been really pleased how sailing have been made to feel, and really pleased by how up they've been for some difficult and decent conversations about a partnership.
Yeah.
My job is to make sure that becomes a reality as much as we can in the next couple of years. But it really is. I don't want to. We shouldn't gloss over the scale of the announcement. The first country in the world to make sailing as a national sport.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you kind of talked about some things that we can do, but what's kind of missing right now as we move into this transition? Do you think? Have you seen?
I think one of the key things is bringing all the bits together and joining the dots, because I think as Tom was just saying, there's a lot of goodwill, there's a lot of good ideas, and there are pockets of amazing work being done. But it's needing a structure that brings all this together, starts to really interrogate, what is it that can make Bahamian sailing unique, culturally important? How is it embedded in the community? And that's something that is going to need resource. It's going to need people who are actually doing that as their job, not just volunteers who are doing good work all around the country, whether it's in the Family Islands or whether it's here in Nassau. So I think that's probably the one thing that I think right now to really help get everything off the ground is some dedicated resource and a structure that works.
Right.
So you just got to pull on all the good work that's been done and then work out how do we scale this up? How do we join the dots?
Yeah. And that's what we've learned in the UK is that so many of the clubs are run by volunteers and parents and sailing enthusiasts who want to pass it on and want to make sure it works.
Right.
But we've learned to have a full-time resource on top of that who can help the clubs when they've got gaps in understanding or gaps in experience. Someone to talk to and someone to kind of go to, someone who can work with interface between clubs and the government or clubs and world sailing, in order to really build a structure. And so the RYA, the Royal, are our full-time team that fill that gap.
Right.
And it has been the difference that has turned amateur clubs into a professional Olympic success.
Right.
And that's not the only measure. There's, as Rob was saying, there's opportunities to make sloop sailing a commercial enterprise for tourists, or opportunity for just getting people out on the water and finding escape, the opportunity to learn life skills and to make contacts with people that you'll know for your whole life.
Right.
All of these things are all equal and worthy attributes.
Yeah.
But they all benefit from having that. The UK have all benefited from having that full-time expertise over the top.
Yeah. I have a question. How do we create fans of the sport? We understand how to watch track and field. We understand how to watch cricket, even though we don't want to. What do we look out for when we talk about going to a sailing event? I literally have seen one sloop sailing event in the Bahamas out of the window of a building, and I didn't even know what was going on. So when you're looking at it, what is going on?
Sure, and one of the beauties about sailing is it is a really dynamic environment. So everything's changing. The breeze is changing. You're not following a standard track. You plot your own course between point and point, and so therefore, without the explanation coming to you, it can be quite confusing to look at. However, that provides a real opportunity as well. It gives the opportunity to bring it to life, and that's where we need to play it for people to be able to see it, to be able to commentate on it, to be able to provide those insights and the reasons behind why is this boat doing this and why is that boat doing that. Right. It was amazing to be part of the National Family Island Regatta. Was how everybody referred to the boats rather than to the people sailing. The boats had their own characters and they had their own steeped in history of regattas years gone by. And I think that's the way you can really connect, because that boat comes from one of the family islands. Mm-hmm. And so you talk about that boat, what's that boat doing, how does that connect to me? And you start to become a sports team fan. Mm-hmm. So you root for your own team, you root for your home island, and you root for those who you know on the water. Yeah. And I think that's the bit, is actually immersing it into people's psychology about this is something for us to be proud of, this is something for us to grab hold of. And what you have amazingly here is some natural amphitheatres to view sailing. Exuma Harbour was incredible. You could stand in many places around the edge without needing to go on the water and be really up close and talk to the captains and talk to the crews and feel like you're really part of the regatta. And that's something that we could learn massively from in the UK. So our events in the UK, there's some great sailing events, but they tend to be by and for the people competing in the event. They don't have that festival that we found here on Exuma. And that's something we can certainly learn from. And I think some of the ideas that were discussed while we were down there were really exciting. Big screens, commentary, the potential of having spectator boats where people can get up close and personal to the sailing. And these are the things that draw you into it and start to make you feel part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
Yeah, and just to build on that, I think the lessons that we've seen from those competitions that have really engaged people in the sport. So like SailGP would be an example, which is an international event that has kind of changed how people view sport sailing. And what they've done is bring people inside the boat. So it's people are mic'd up on the boat, so you can hear the conversation that they're having on the water. Okay. Mm-hmm. There's cameras that are in the boat that means you can see what's happening. And even in Exuma, the regatta, there was drone footage that kind of brought you closer, so you could see more of what's going on. Okay. And I think building on those technologies to close the boat and those who are watching on the shore is what will help people to really have a connection to it. But I wouldn't underestimate the connection you've already got. It's just by being at that regatta and hearing people in the bandstand, in watching on the side, having very strong opinions about who was right and who was wrong and where people were going, and all the smack talk related to how people were getting on. Like, that is incredible. And we don't have that in the UK. And we're very jealous of that. We'd love to have that. So I'd be building on the stuff you do well already and then seeing what technologies can help enhance that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think an English regatta is a polite waving of flag with scone and tea, and it was completely different in Exuma. It really was fun to be in the bandstand and to hear people really, as Rob said, really rooting for their crews, really shouting, "Oh, you got that wrong! You got the turn wrong!" All that sort of thing. And it was, we were there, and we didn't need to see the water because you could hear from the people behind you what was going on. Yeah. Plus, what was for me a unique experience is they allowed the spectator boats right into the race, and it was important not to disrupt the racing, but you could see it. You could hear the shouting at each other between the crews. You could hear the instructions from the captain to the bowman and all these sort of things. And it as a visitor to Exuma, my first time at a regatta like that, first time at a sloop regatta for sure, I felt fully involved, and I was really impressed. I did wish I had my Facebook on so I could see the drone footage at the same time, and had no idea who won at the end of it. All I could see was the sail numbers, and the sail numbers are mostly made up from what I could work out. But it really was a brilliant spectator sport for me.
Yeah. What's the so if we do have like a hope from where we are now? What classes do they have at the Olympics, and what kind of transition is that from what they do now in the Bahamas?
Yeah, so at the moment there's 10 classes in the Olympics, and they're ever changing, I think. So cycle to cycle, 4-year cycles for Olympics, they're changing all the time. From being down at the sailing club this week, we've seen the Oppies, lasers, sunfish, and the laser is an Olympic class, so you already have one. Olympic class here, but kind of baked in. I think there's a NACRA here as well, which is another class. So you've got a couple of classes already. I think the key thing with progressing towards that real high level Olympic international success is coaches and is people.
Right.
Like good coaches make good sailors, and I think looking at how you create the world's best coaches that are Bahamian and understand Bahamian sailing as well as what it takes to win on the world stage, I think that's how you're going to close the gap. And there'll be a bit of a need to potentially bring in some experience from outside. But I think if you do, you need to be growing like true Bahamian coaches who can understand the world, like be pursuing that dream, if it's going to make a difference. I think that's probably where we can help, to be honest, is sharing some of the hard-earned experience and knowledge we've had over many years of what it takes to be a good coach, so that you can see some emergent Bahamian coaches who are world-class.
Yeah. You want to add?
Well, there's nothing really to add to what Nick says. I think that the key there is, and I think in everything we've been talking about, is how can we help now, but ensure that it's sustainable long term. Right. And I think if people just looked to bring in coaches from abroad on a sort of a rotational basis, that doesn't deliver long-term success. Right. I've seen it in other sports in other countries. You try and bring in, take something like table tennis, for example, and you think, well, we can turn British table tennis players into being world leaders if we bring in Chinese coaches. Right. It doesn't work because their way of coaching, their culture, isn't going to deliver long-term benefit. So I think Nick's nailed it in that, if we can help share our knowledge and, what we've learned over a number of years, we're really proud. I mean, the British sailing team is the most successful Olympic sailing nation in history. Yeah. But that means what we've got is a wealth of knowledge that we can share. Yeah. And I would certainly be really proud if in 2 or 3 Olympic cycles we were able to look over on an Olympics and see Bahamian sailors in the fleets and know that there were Bahamian coaches behind them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's it's a really important point. That's something I've learned this week. Sloop sailing, incredibly exciting. And when Minister Sweeting announced it, he said it's being announced by us, for us. Mm-hmm. And sloop sailing is unique globally. The way everything from how the boats are made through to how they're sailed. Sloop sailing itself, though, isn't an Olympic class. Right. The sloop sailors would need to switch over to international sailing to be able to do that. And there tends to be, at the minute, from what I can see, sets of sloop sailing clubs and sets of Olympic sailing clubs. Right. And I think one of the conversations that would need to happen within the Bahamas in the next couple of months is there ambition to bring those together? Yeah. Is there ambition to work out the bridge from one to the other and back again? Yeah. Yeah, how do sloop sailors who are internationally good move over to an Olympic class, join an international sailing club, or find a coach and go? And how do your best international sailors move over to sloop sailing? Right. That does feel a bit of the furniture that needs working out. Yeah. And I know there's ambition to do that. It was exciting to see the Exuma Sailing Club, for me, being the physical embodiment of that. The juniors training on international boats and sloops, kind of hand in glove. Yeah. And I think that's a real model that we would look at in the UK, and I'm sure the Bahamas will look at as well. But I think we'll all keep fingers crossed one day for sloop sailing becoming an Olympic sport. I think that'd be a great addition to the Olympics. But for now, it would be we have to work out how the two halves of the sport can work together.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we were all speaking, somebody sent a text message about swimming, and it's an important point: building confidence on water, learning how to swim, and also learning how to swim in deep water. I guess Bahamians have this idea that perhaps they don't know how to swim. But what's your experience in the UK teaching people how to swim with confidence and building their confidence in deep water?
Yeah, I think water confidence is one of the biggest blockers to people progressing in any water-based activity. So, certainly, we're starting out. There's today we're off to see some. I'm really excited to see how that's being integrated into young people over here, and it's certainly something that we've started to identify for us. particularly around the least privileged communities in our society. So when we see a threefold barrier to taking part in sailing activity around water confidence, swimming ability in those less privileged communities.
Yeah.
So it's really a key. Well, it's a terrible use of words, but it's a really key thing to be able to actually unlock the potential of somebody going on the water, somebody becoming a sailor, somebody being comfortable. Because even if you say, well, it's okay, I'm not a strong swimmer, but I'll still go sailing. Yeah. You'll hold back. You won't push yourself to the level you could, and it's a really it's a fundamental part of getting people on the water and getting people comfortable. The other thing that helps with that is that certainly in our experience, the use of buoyancy aids, of life jackets, really helps in that space, because if you fall in, you float.
Yeah.
And so it takes all the hard work away from you. So again, it means people feel more comfortable, more confident, particularly at that junior level, to push themselves and get over that initial stage and be really key and ready to go on the water and be excited by it.
Yeah, awesome, great. We're going to go to a quick break, and Morning Blend Business will be right back.
Are you guys sailing with them? You ready? Let's go back. All right.
Yep.
Sail.
We need breeze.
After a hurricane or storm, get the Nassau Guardian's Hurricane Guide. The guide will tell you where to purchase building and cleaning supplies, waste disposal, medical care, which auto shop to go to after driving through flooded streets, and much more. The Nassau Guardian's Hurricane Guide will help to make sure everyone knows what to do in the event a hurricane approaches and after it departs. Take advantage of this double insertion opportunity plus 15 radio commercials. Contact us today, 302-2300, 302-2300, or call your account executive. Will you be prepared?
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut on fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Tired of paying too many bills and loan payments each month?
Shrink your monthly debt payments down to one easy payment with our debt consolidation loan.
It also has a built-in savings that pays you 5% interest.
Inquire about our debt consolidation loans today.
Call 356-7764.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. The government signed a heads of agreement yesterday for the development of a $110 million resort in southeastern New Providence. The marina resort at Blue Water Key will be constructed along 20 acres on a peninsula on the southeastern tip of the island near the intersection of Fox Hill Road and Hannah Road, and will feature a 120-slip marina, a dry storage facility, marina village, clubhouse, restaurants, and a retail and residential component, including 20 condominiums, 22 oceanfront villas, and a 130-room hotel. And defending the manner in which government accessed the International Monetary Fund special drawing rights allocation, Prime Minister Philip Davis said yesterday he was confident that the government has acted in the best interest of the Bahamian people and the fiscal health of this nation. Davis laid out the logic behind what has become a controversial and political matter as he raised debate on the Central Bank of the Bahamas Amendment Bill 2023 in the House of Assembly. Among other things, the bill allows for the Minister of Finance to access, utilize, or convert SDRs allocated by the IMF for reducing and managing foreign currency debt. President and Chief Executive Officer of Four Walls Bahamas, Michael Fields, penned an open letter to Minister of Works and Utilities Alfred Sears yesterday, saying that Village Road businesses are still waiting for an update on the village and a response from the minister to 3 communications sent to him requesting an official update. He said, quote, "We were surprised to read your remarks quoted in the press last week, Friday, regarding the Village Road Improvement Project, considering we have failed to receive a reply to our previous 3 communications requesting an official update on the project and a meeting to discuss the concerns of the business community." Cotton Bay to begin construction phase of Ritz-Carlton Reserve later this year. Cotton Bay Holdings Limited is preparing to begin the construction phase of its Ritz-Carlton Reserve that will create 300 direct jobs, last 24 months, and provide more than $8 million in wages annually, a statement released from the company said yesterday. The company manager for Cotton Bay Holdings Limited, Daniel Zaletta, gave an update on the project to the Eleuthera Business Outlook last week. And Grow the Food Lab is searching for funding after a failed bid at crowdfunding through Arawak X, one of its principals, told Guardian Business yesterday. The company is now establishing a community project to help food and the businesses of getting it to market. Last Friday, young Queens College kids weeded, sifted soil, and put plants in the ground in the first part of the Sustainable School Project powered by Grow that will teach the children from primary school to high school how the business of food operates. And that's your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
But the father is sailing, but I can sailing with them. You ready? Let's go back. Alright. Sailboat, got the breeze to sail. We need breeze. Sailboat, got the breeze to sail. We need breeze. Sailing boat in the harbor, got no breeze to sail, yeah. Sailing boat in the harbor, got no breeze to sail, yeah.
Good morning and welcome back to Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. I'm Chester Robards, along with Jerusa Ali, and I'm filling in for Dwight Strachan, who is out sailing somewhere with no breeze. So we hope he's enjoying his vacation. We're having a great conversation with British High Commissioner Tom Hartley, with Royal Yachting Association, Sarah Sutcliffe, who's the CEO, Rob Clark, who's the Director of Sport Development, and Nick Scott, who is the Director of Racing. And so kind of paint a picture for us of what is happening on a sailboat. I don't know if people know what it takes to move around the water on wind power. If any of you can take that, what does that look like?
Well, everyone's looked to me to try to come up with the answer to that question. So how does it work? Well, pretty much you've got a hull that sits in the water, which usually has a spine along the bottom of it, a keel of some kind or a plate, which keeps you tracking in a straight direction, in a straight line, hopefully. And then you use a canvas or more modern material sail to capture the breeze. And the way that the wind flows across the sail provides drive. It's very much like an airplane wing, the way it works from a physics perspective. And that drives you forwards. And the real skill is understanding all those variables and how you adjust the shape of your sail, which is obviously a three-dimensional object, and you can pull it in all directions to harness that breeze as effectively as possible. If you try to grab too much power out the wind, it'll just stall and not work. And if you don't take the effort to grab it more, then you won't get the speed you're looking for.
So there's math.
Yeah, that's a great definition of sailing, I think. But I think probably the one that hits me, and the reason why I do it, is freedom, really. So for me, when you step on a boat, when you push out into a stretch of water, it's about connection to your environment, connection to the water, and letting go of everything else.
Yeah.
So you step onto the boat and you've got work, you've got family, you've got stress, and when you get on the boat, it all just drifts away, floats away.
Yeah.
And it's just you and nature, feeling the breeze, feeling the sunshine. In the UK, maybe feeling the rain. But even so, it's just connecting with something that's bigger than the stuff that ultimately maybe doesn't matter, really, that you carry and you kind of can weigh you down sometimes. So for me, sailing is freedom. And if you haven't tried it, if there's people out there listening who haven't had a go, and you feel like you need a bit of freedom, jump on a boat, because you won't regret it.
Yeah. You kind of touched on it, and I guess it's something that we might have to work on. But access, what kind of people is sailing for? It seems a very rich sport. Who is it going to be for?
I think that the simple answer is it's for everybody. Yeah. And there's definitely a perception of the sport, and it's what's great being here and seeing how sloop sailing is embraced by the whole community. The thing that we really see is there's a perception that sailing is a rich man's sport that's only available to the few. Actually, both from what we've seen here with some of the community programs here, but also what we have in the UK, there's some really accessible, easy to just walk into your local club, walk into your local sailing centre and say, I want to have a go. And you'll find it's actually far more accessible than you realise. There are programs that are funded, there are programs that help, certainly some conversation we've had here around funded places to help kids from government schools get into the sailing program to have an experience with it, and we have exactly the same thing in the UK. And the minute you step over that threshold and you give it a go, as Nick says, your other worries go away and you focus just on being in the moment, and that's what's amazing about it. Is it's just a moment in time when you are just connected to the environment you're in.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is it's a level playing field for boys and girls, men and women.
Mm-hmm.
There are some boats that are more favourable for bigger, stronger, and probably lean more to men.
Right.
But we see it in international racing. There's no reason why men and women, and bring that down to boys and girls, can't compete together, either in a crew together. And there are a number of Olympic classes, we were talking about Olympic classes earlier, where it is required that it's a mixed crew. So you take a couple of stipulated, whether it's the male or the female who's being the helm or being the crew.
Okay.
So you can pick and choose. You can do what's right for you as a group. So it's one of those very few sports where it's a real level playing field. So I'd be really keen. I think more girls could get involved here in the Bahamas, definitely. We probably saw both in Exuma and yesterday when we had the pleasure of seeing some of the youngsters in the Oppies and the Lasers. There aren't many girls.
Yeah.
And I really think that would be something that, I'd like to see the community come behind. But it's, it's something we're trying to tackle in the UK as well.
Right.
Get more girls in, keep them in, understanding what those barriers are as to why girls might stop sailing, because there's absolutely no reason why they should.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the impression about the sport is important to overcome. I think cricket might have had the same problem, that it was a wealthy sport and you needed lots of kit to get involved, and lots of countries in the world have overcome that. Biggest place in the world that plays cricket is India, and they play at every level.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely what's going on in the Bahamas with sailing as well. There's a saying that whenever there's an Englishman, there's cricket. And I think as of last week, they'll say wherever there's a Bahamian, there's sailing.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important that that the Bahamas opens access to the sport as much as possible. We at the High Commission, we've been working with the Bahamas National Sailing School this year in order to support that. We've supported them to make a brilliant little 2-minute video of interviewing sailors from across the Bahamas that they can take into schools. I'm not going to say which one, but going to a school later today in order to promote come learn to sail.
Okay.
And the idea being to help young people see sailors like them and see if they can do it, I can do it. That's been a really important part of it. We have a saying in the UK that great sailing begins with me, and so the more you can see other people sailing who are like you, the more you will. The UK, the High Commission has also put money aside to support 30 young people wanting to learn to sail this summer.
Okay.
National Sailing School has a summer program running all the way through the summer, a 2-week course, and we've sponsored 30 places for that.
Yeah.
And particularly earmarking it for girls as well. We really want to encourage as many girls to learn to sail as possible. And I think Danny Strawn, the outgoing Commodore, very generous to say that the UK has set the sort of diplomatic bar for others, for international support to sailing. And we want to encourage the US and Chinese and Brazilians and others who are here to come and support sailing as well. And what we can all do is talk about it when we visit schools, encourage children to learn to sail or learn to swim and sail if that's their barrier. I think the Out Islands are already doing this incredibly well. And let's all work together as best we can and to do that. I think one of the things, if we still have a few more minutes to talk to you, is perhaps how British sailing and the Bahamian sailing can work together over the next couple of years as well. I think we've learned a lot in the last week, and I've really benefited from having world-class expertise come and be alongside us. Some brilliant ideas. I think I'm going to name some of them, and we're going to try and then talk them into existence. But things like twinning Bahamian sailing clubs with British sailing clubs, so that at a club level there's a relationship, a transatlantic relationship between sailing nations, so that a sailing club here can speak to someone who knows exactly what they're going through. How are you getting more juniors into on holiday? What's your safeguarding policy? You've got someone you can talk to at that kind of sport level, and that I think that sort of relationship of twinning clubs will allow a generational support. We spoke about it a bit earlier as well about we're certain that there would be British coaches who would love to come and support coaching here. We think our experience is very much that's a short or medium term solution. So one of the things as well is how can we support the training of the coaches as well, so that ultimately it's a Bahamian coach training Bahamian athletes. But the UK has tons of experience with that. We have the RYA has accredited training centres in 57 countries around the world. And love for Bahamas to be one of them. That would allow that kind of training expertise to happen. And then, as I'll let Sarah jump in here, is being a critical friend at the end of the phone and saying, all right, this is what we've done wrong and this is what we've done right. Your context is different, but learn from us, and bridging that gap into Bahamian sailing. There's also, like in the Bahamas, there's some deep pockets in the UK who would love on an individual kind of philanthropic level to kind of support this as well. Had some really encouraging conversations last night. We had an event at the Royal Nassau Sailing Club, which is the oldest sailing club in the country. It's 99 years old. And we were there with ministers and others, and there was people who said, how do I get involved? How do I support scholarships or bursaries or a purchase of equipment? And that's what the UK network can help provide as well. And it won't just be a one-way street. I'm absolutely certain that there'll be Bahamian sailors that will love to train in the British programmes in the UK. There will also be tons of British sailors who will want to come here to sail on the perfect waters in predictable conditions with communities who love sailing as much as them. I think that would be a great exchange. And it's these sort of ideas that we want to kind of take forward in the next couple of months. And I know Sarah's got others as well.
Yeah, I mean, Tom's absolutely right. I think we've learned a lot in a really busy 4 days. I can't believe it's only 4 days, actually, before we head back tonight to the UK. And what's really key now is to take all the big ideas and just try and synthesize down to think, well, what are some short-term, easy ideas that we can help develop? And I think really importantly, what does that really help the Bahamian sailing community shape the long-term vision and shape what that journey looks like, and provide whatever support, advice, friendship. We talk about it all the time. Sailing is full of friends. I've made friends who I know I will be back to visit. The Bahamian people are so friendly, and we've had invitations to come back, and we will be back. Not only to grow those friendships, but to come back and help, continue to help by being that sort of critical friend, providing that advice and support. But there are going to be definitely some more tangible things that we can do as well. Excellent.
Well, thank you so much. That's our show for this morning. British High Commissioner Tom Hartley, Sarah Sutcliffe, Rob Clark, and Nick Scott, thank you so much for helping us to understand the sport of sailing and what we have to look forward to in the Bahamas in the future. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being
Thank
here.
you so much for the warm welcome today and for the last week. It's been such fun, and we're really proud to have been part of it.
Good.
Thank
And
you
of
for
course,
having us.
I'm sure we'll have you back to talk about other things.
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah, tomorrow, let me just give a quick plug for that. Tomorrow we have these visitors go, and we've got UK Export Finance in town for the next 3 days, meetings with ministers. They're the arm of the British government that supports big infrastructure investment in the UK. And then obviously next week, really looking forward to the coronation and the Prime Minister, where he will, as the Bahamians say, he'll get sand and issue in the UK as well. So we're looking forward to supporting all of those things.
Absolutely. Great. Jerusali, thank you for co-hosting with me. Appreciate you. We are back tomorrow. On the Clock with Aaron Green is up next. Be good to each other. God bless. Have a great day, Bahamas. Talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.